Afro Tales podcast is a part of the Connected Podcast Network. Ahoy, my friends. Welcome aboard the Afro Tales podcast. I'm your storyteller, Amon Mazingo. Join me as we explore the tales that grew from the people of Indigenous and African descent in the Americas and the Caribbean. After, come and see me, chef, who will impart upon you a recipe for the story you have just heard. So with no further ado, let us set sail on this new age of exploration. The distribution of Orisha's powers, Cuban version. In the earliest days, only the Orisha lived on Earth. Their paramount ruler was an old man called Olofin, who lived in the summit of a mountain so steep that only one person had ever succeeded in reaching him. A woman by the name of Obatala knew of a twisting but safe path by which she could get to the Father of Heaven and Earth. The path was known as Osankirian. Whenever Obatala felt the desire to do so, she went up the mountain to visit Olofin, who, although he ruled, was never seen by the other Orishas. It happened that one time things on earth began to go wrong. There was drought, cattle began to die, and crops failed. Hunger came among the Orishas. They assembled in a crowd at the foot of the mountain and called to Olofin.
Father, we are dying. We have hardly the strength to meet death.
But from Olofin there was no answer. The Orishas grew desperate. Finally, they went to Obatala and entreated her to climb the mountain to make contact with Olofin. Obatala agreed. She climbed the trail known as the way to Osankirian. She reached the place where Olofin lived, and she found him lying on the ground. Obatala called his name several times, but Olofin did not answer. Obatala shook him, whereupon Olofin said, "I am too tired. I cannot go on." Obatala went down the mountain to the plain. She called all the Orishas together and said, "The old man is too tired to go on." On hearing this, the Orishas said,
If he is too tired to go on, he should turn over his power to us. Then we will know how to deal with it.
Again, Obatala went up the mountain and spoke with Olofin. She said, "The people are asking you to make a supreme effort." Olofin answered, "I cannot go on." Obatala said, "In that case, the people want you to share your powers with them." The Father of Heaven and Earth said, That is fair. Do it then," Obatala said. Olofin said to her, "Summon an assembly under the Kaiba tree." Obatala descended. She went to the Kaiba tree. She gathered food. She cooked it with cocoa butter, which was known to soothe impatience. Then she called the assembly. The Orishas came. They ate, argued, and waited for Olofin. Early in the evening, they saw him come down the mountain. When he arrived, he said once again, "I am too tired to go on."
Father,
The Orisha said,
if you cannot go on, give us something to, because we cannot go on without.
Olofin said, "I will give each person what is due to him."
Yes.
The Orisha said,
But do not keep us waiting too long.
Whereupon Olofin reached for a thunderbolt and gave it to Shango. He reached for the lightning and gave it to Oya, saying, "You are the owner of the light that goes with the thunder. He picked up the river and placed it in the hands of Oshun, saying, "You are the mistress of the river." He embraced the sea and gave it to Yamaya, telling her, "You are the owner of the sea, Madala." In this way, one by one, Olofin gave each Orisha his power. And at last he told Obatala, You are a mistress of all the heads." Olofin remained the supreme Orisha, but Obatala became his deputy on earth. She became the one who protects those who fall under the anger of Ogun. She also possesses great healing powers. When somebody has been sick for a long time, he goes to the Lupimi priest. The priest takes a pigeon, plucks from it a few feathers, wraps them in white cloth, and rubs the sick person with them, while reciting the following prayer to Obatala. Sera Yi Bakuro. Sera Yi Bakuro. The sick person recovers. The end. The distribution of Orisha's powers. Yoruba version. Numerous Orishas were living on the earth, but they did not yet have all the powers for which they are now known. When knowledge was needed to accomplish an important thing, the Orishas, like ordinary men, appealed to Olorun or Orunmila for help. But one day, the Orisha called Oko thought, "Here I am, living among humans. But what distinguishes me? If the people need something, they go to Orunmila for it. If I need something, I must also go to Orunmila. Why should this be? If I had the knowledge of a certain thing, people could call on me for help, and then would not have to importune Orunmila." Orisha Oko went to where Orunmila was living on earth. He said, "I have no powers that distinguish me from the humans created by Obatala. You, Orunmila, who are the spokesman for Ororun on earth, endow me with some special attribute. If this is done, people can appeal to me for help in many things." Orunmila pondered on what Orisha Oko was asking. He said, "Yes, perhaps there is a reason in it. Let me consider the matter." Orisha Oko departed. Now, the Orisha called Ogun was thinking similar thoughts. "Am I not an Orisha? I should have special powers greater than those of humans." He also went to where Orunmila was living. He said, "Whenever some important thing is required by the people, they come to you. Their demands are heavy. It is Orunmila this and Orunmila and that. Give me special knowledge of some kind so that I can do something to keep the world going." Orunmila answered, "Yes, I have been thinking about it. I will see what can be done." The minds of other Orishas turned the same way. Eshu, who already had the knowledge of language, went to Orunmila seeking more knowledge. Shango went to Orunmila. Sonpono went to Orunmila. Olu Ibo went to Orunmila. Osayin went to Orunmila. And after them, still more Orishas went, all asking for a special gift of some part of Orunmila's understanding of the world and its forces. Orunmila was distressed. He thought, I hold all the Orishas equal in my affection. If I give anything to one of them, the others will surely complain that I denied something to them, and they will hold it against me. There are many powers to be shared. To whom should I give one power or another? Because the matter weighed heavily on him, Orunmila hardly touched his food. He could not sleep at night. His wives and servants worried about him. Orunmila took to walking by himself in the open country and pondering the question of how he might divide the powers among the Orishas. He was walking in the fields this way one time when he met Egemo, the chameleon. Egemo said to him, You, Orunmila, spokesman of Olorun on earth, why are you so heavy with care? Orunmila answered, Well, one of the Orishas come to me, saying, Give me a special power so that I can relieve you of some of your burdens. But there are so many powers, some great, some small. If I give something small, it will be held against me. If I give something large to one, the others will resent it. I want to treat all the Orishas equally. How can I do it so there will be harmony instead of dissension? Egemo said, Perhaps it would be best to leave the distribution to chance. Return to the sky. Then send messengers to announce that on such and such a day, you will pour the powers down on earth. Let each Orisha catch what they can or retrieve it from the place where it falls. Whatever powers an Orisha collects in this way will be his. By sending your messengers, you will have given everyone equal notice. And no one can say, Orunmila has neglected me. On hearing Egemo's advice, Orunmila's mind rested. For now he saw how it could be done. He said, Egemo, though you are small, your name will be great. I will share out the powers and the knowledge by raining them on the earth. Orunmila returned to the sky and prepared things. Then he sent messengers down to the places where the Orishas lived. The messengers went from the house of one Orisha to another. They said, Orunmila has instructed us to announce that he will dispense the powers from the sky. On the 5th day following this one, you are to go into the open fields and wait. Orunmila will scatter the things you want. They will fall here, there, and anywhere. Grasp what you can as it falls or retrieve it from the ground. One of you will acquire one thing, others will acquire others. In this way, the special knowledge will be distributed, and no one can say Orunmila prefers one Orisha over another. The Orishas said,
Orunmila does a good thing. Thank you for. We will receive what he rains down on us.
On the 5th day, they went into the open fields and waited. Then the powers began to fall from the sky. The Orishas ran here and there with their hands outstretched. One Orisha caught one thing, another caught another. Some of the powers eluded their hands and fell in the tall grass or among the trees. The Orishas went searching in all directions. Now, some Orishas were fleet, while some were not. Some were more agile or stronger than others. Those who were swifter or larger or more persistent were able to get larger or more desirable portions of what Oromile was bestowing. But everyone received something. Because Eshu was one of the strongest, and because he did not hesitate to push anyone aside, he gathered a very large share of powers, one of which was the capability of destroying anyone who offended him. He acquired the power of phallic strength and the power to deprive his enemy of their virility. He received the power of turning men back from their purposes and of turning order into disorder. And all these things were in addition to the power of language that he already possessed. Because of all these attributes possessed by Eshu, Orishas and humans thereafter treat him with special respect and sought to avoid his enmity. The Orisha Shango, through what he picked up in the fields, became the owner of the lightning bolt, and therefore he acquired the name Jokuta, the stone thrower. Later, when he became the ruler of the city of Oyo, he was called Oba Jakuta. Orisha Oko received the power to make crops flourish, and human beings supplicated him to make their yams and grain grow. Sonpono became the owner of smallpox, and both Orishas and humans dreaded his power. Osanyin acquired special knowledge of curing and divining, and Olu Igbo became the Orisha of the bush country and the forest. Each Orisha received something. This is how the Orishas who went to live on earth came by their special attributes. The end. Wow. So both of those versions are awesome. I love it. I love the distribution of the Orishas' powers. I love how it's done in the original version, a little bit more than how it's done in the Cuban version or the Lukumi version. But I still love them both, right? These stories both come from the book A Treasury of Afro-American Folklore, the oral literature, traditions, recollections, legends, tales, songs, religious beliefs, customs, sayings, and humor of the people of African descent in the Americas by Harold Courlander. And so just so people understand, I've done a Orisha story from Cuba before, and they do gender swap Obatala in traditional or Ifa. It is a man, but he's also a god, and if a god wants to be a woman, then it can be a woman. If it wants to be a man, it can be a man. So in the Lukumi version, Obatala is a woman. So just so you guys know, I don't want you guys to be confused by that. Also, you notice a couple differences that it's Oromila in the Yoruba version, and it is Obatala in the Lukumi version. If you guys don't know, or you guys have never heard of these Orishas, there's a couple I haven't heard of. Please go out and look. the book, the Seven African Powers, is a good one. There are many videos on YouTube talking about the Orisha. Just go look up Santeria, Condomble, Lukumi, Ifa, even voodoo and hoodoo. You will find things about the Orishas in almost all of those, if not in every single one that I have mentioned. I love the way the powers are distributed in the Yoruba version. The fact that it rained down from heaven. If you grew up in the church, and if you're around in the 90s, you know, Kirk Franklin really made popular the song Melodies from Heaven. Melodies from heaven, rain down on me, rain down on me. That I heard that song so much growing up that, it really seems like they were referring to the Orishas getting their powers, right? These are blessings. These are things that came down from heaven so that they could fulfill their particular purpose in life. And that's all we want to do, is fulfill our purpose in life, right? So we go to our higher powers and ask them, ask it, what is our purpose in life? What is the blessing that I am to share with the world so that I can live a fulfilled life? I remember when I was young in high school, a woman in a church, she came to me and she placed her hand on me and she said, you have a lot to share. You should be a teacher of some sort. And my mother would always say that because when I was a kid, I helped teach my cousins colors and their letters and stuff like that. It was the natural thing for me to do. And so I always felt that my purpose was to be a teacher of some sort. Whether that was to be a pastor in a church or a teacher in a school. Granted, I have done neither one of those. Neither one. I always was terrified of it. But I have been told that doing this is a bit of a fulfillment of that objective, that purpose. And if me reading you these stories and giving you my bit at the end and giving you these recipes is teaching you in some way, I am grateful that I can do that. I actually was training to become a teacher before I got a new job that took me out of the state. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I want you to walk away from this story with the understanding that if you don't know what your power is, there's still time to find it and put it to good use. Okay? Good use, I say. Some people find their power and use it for the wrong. Please find your power. Please call down your power and use it for the right. All right? Now, go. Since this story originated in Cuba, we have a Cuban recipe for you, and a chef is awaiting your visit. Please go see him and give him that courtesy. So until next time, as always, from me to you, thank you for coming on this voyage, and have a blessed day. Welcome, my friends, to the galley. I am your chef, and today we have a wonderful recipe inspired by the story you have just heard. Today we were creating Cuban Churros. Now, what do you need for this wonderfully sweet recipe? 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup water with an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, vegetable oil, and a plate of granulated or powdered sugar. Now, how do we put this together? Easy. First, sift the flour in a mixing bowl while bringing the salted water to boil. Now, pour the boiling water over the flour, stirring lightly until the dough forms into a ball. About 30 seconds should do. The dough should be compact, but not runny or too soft. Now, if you have a chorilla or a cookie press, load it up with the dough. If not, a big freezer Ziploc bag or pastry bag with a corner cut off works too. Use a star-shaped tip if you have it. Squeeze the dough onto wax paper in about 6-inch strips. Then heat the oil until very hot. Now, you can fry the dough in the super hot oil, turning it once when you see the edges barely begin to pick up color. Think pancakes. Fry about 5 minutes total. Remove with a slotted spoon, draining as much oil as possible, and place on the sugar plate and roll in the sugar. The churros will be ready to eat almost immediately. And that is it, my friends. Now, go. Do what you do. Make this recipe yours. And until I have another wonderful recipe for you, remember how the Orishas received their blessings. And until next time, my friends, as always, enjoy.
Thank you, my friends, for coming on this voyage. Thanks to Art by Chalet for the logo, episode, and shirt designs. You can get t-shirts and other items on tpublic.com. You can contact me on all socials at AfroTalesCast. That's AfroTalesCast. And email me at AfroTalesCast@gmail.com. You may also become a benefactor by simply sharing with any and everyone, giving a thumbs up, a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice, or simply donating on Patreon or Ko-fi.com. That's KO-FI.com. So until we meet again, may your winds be fair and your seas follow.